Hey everybody, how are you doing? Welcome to the Yarn Thing podcast with Marley Bird. You are joining in today to listen to a wonderful conversation with me and my wonderful guest, Mary Hamby of 22 West. Marley Bird, you are joining in today to listen to a wonderful conversation with me and my wonderful guest, Mary Hamby of 22 West. Marley Bird, you are. Why am I hearing that? I can't figure out why I'm hearing that. Do we hear it now?
No, so I think we should be good.
I just told you that I muted everything too. I was like, why am I hearing that?
No, I think we're good now.
How weird. I can hear you great. That is the weirdest thing. Everything was on mute. I'm like, I don't know. So I don't know where the sound was coming from. Regardless. Oh, well. I feel like rewind, we're gonna do over. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Hopefully there will be no more technical difficulties. Have no idea why we were getting feedback, but so on and so forth. So let's see, if this is the first time you've listened to the Yarn Thing podcast, welcome. We are glad you are here. We try and do the show every Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock Mountain Time. Now, here during the summer, we have switched at the 10:30. Given my schedule with the kids over the summer break, I had to push it back to 10:30, so I apologize. But when we hit the fall again, I think we will go back to 10 o'clock, unless everybody really likes this 10:30 time, and then we'll stick with that. So I'll just kind of let that linger out there. I'll let you know the details on that over on the Facebook page. Which, by the way, is just facebook.com/MarleyBird. You can join us over there. We always give really good links to wonderful patterns, both mine and other people's, kind of keep you abreast with what's going on around the knitting and crochet community. And we also have the Marley Bird group as well. So there's a lot of fun things for you to do to participate here in the Marley Bird world. But here on the Yarn Thing podcast, we have lovely sponsors. So we're going to say thank you to Creative Bug, Craftsy.com, Buffalo Wool Company, Erin Lane Bags, Red Heart Yarn, where I'm the proud national spokesperson, and last but certainly not least, Stitches.events, where I will be teaching at Stitches Midwest this August. If you would like to learn more about the sponsors, please visit the sponsor menu in marleybird.com. You'll get a direct link to each one of them. Go by and say hello and let them know that you appreciate them sponsoring your favorite podcast. It's kind of hard for them, guys, because you hear their names and you know that they're sponsors because you watch the show, but they don't know that you're hearing that necessarily unless you go by and say hello. So please make sure you do that when you get a chance, if you don't mind. I would appreciate it. All right, so with all of that out of the way, why don't we introduce the guest and get to know her a little bit? Because I'm very excited. I will be completely honest. I didn't know anything about her, and Caitlin came to me and said, hey, I want to have this person on the show. Do you think it's okay? So I looked at her website. I'm like, oh man, this stuff is fantastic. I would love to talk to her and kind of pick her brain and see how things work in her world and how she introduces fiber in the wonderful art that she does. So I want to introduce you guys to Mary Hamby. She is the owner of 22west.com. And if you haven't checked it out, you need to go do that. But let's say hello to Mary and welcome her to the Yarn Thing podcast, guys.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I am thrilled you are here. It's so nice to actually talk to you and to get to know you in a way that maybe not a lot of people get to know you in just by reading our story on your website. Like there has to be some depth there. So I like the first thing that pops in mind is you have to have some sort of fascination with fiber art. So you want to take us to where it all kind of started with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my first little introduction into the fiber world I was maybe 8 or 9. I should have called my mom and checked in, got my facts checked. But I was quite young, and my mom actually advocated for me to be a part of a crochet class that was in the community. It was one of my friend's grandmothers was actually teaching it. There was maybe 10 of us, which is looking back, I'm proud of that woman for leading us. That's a lot of littles. But I learned how to crochet. That was my first little dabble in. I specifically remember, it took me so long to master even just the beginning chain. And after I did that, it was like, oh, I'm making chain bracelets, chain scarves, chain leashes. I
Yeah.
mean, you name it. I was so proud. And that was kind of my first little dabble in. From there. I learned how to knit, and I did a little basketry weaving, but it goes beyond yarn too for me. I was an assistant for a ceramicist in high school and college, so I support my fiber work with ceramics, because one of the things when you work with yarn is it's very lightweight, and when you're going to turn it into something functional that you're going to wear, weight and engineering kind of come into it a little bit. And so I love kind of supporting the fiber work with the ceramics. But yeah, I went to college for interior design, where I studied textiles as part of that. So a little dabble there, and just learned about color theory, design, scale, proportions. I worked in the industry, interior design, for a few years, not long after college. Pretty quickly decided to start doing 22 West full time. My husband was very supportive. We got married in April of 2015, and I started my business in June of 2015. So newly married, newly businessed. I just celebrated 3 years this month. So loving what I do, and that I get to play with fibers all day, every day.
Oh my gosh, I love this. I love, you know, I'm so lucky I get to talk to so many wonderful people on this podcast and to hear everybody's story. And the one thing that's a common thread through all of it, no pun intended, is that there's this desire and ambition to do something, you know, and you're like, all of us take this leap of faith of, all right, we're just jumping in. We're just going to just test the waters out. And so, like, what was it for you? What was the, okay, I can do this? Was it your husband? Was it your mom and dad? Was it the fact that you were like, no, I got this? Like, what was it for you that kind of gave you that oomph?
Yeah, all of the above. I've been so blessed and so thankful to have a really supportive family, community. I'm a huge believer that we don't do anything alone. So I definitely think my husband was especially large motivator, because you know, you've got two people. My husband is a filmmaker too, so we are a creative, self-employed family.
Wow.
And the fact that he supported that was huge. But I've always been very business-minded, entrepreneur-minded. I have always wanted to run my own business. Actually, right after that crochet class, so I was maybe 11, 12, I'd moved past the chain, got the basic stitches down, and I remember my aunt let me come with her she used to do embroidery. Specifically, I remember these little ponytail holders that had the embroidered letter on them that were very big, maybe 15 years ago. And I set up on the corner of her booth. And I called it rainbow scarves. And I had some knitted scarves just on like the corner, and I'm just this little thing. And I mean, I've always loved to make things. I love to make things for people, see them, take them home. But just the business side of it thrills me too, because it's just, I mean, it's such an honor that this pays my bills and I get to make things
Right.
professionally. Yeah.
Yeah. So the jewelry side of it all, I have a really great friend named Jill Wiseman, who's a jewelry designer. She's amazing. I love her. And, you know, I've heard her story before. You know what? We need to have her on the podcast. But I've heard her story I'm sorry, squirrel, right? I've heard her story of how she got into beads and jewelry in general. Now, jewelry is obviously a big part of your design work. How did all of that come into play?
Yeah, so I started doing jewelry. My first two pieces that I started 22 West with just two things. I was selling loom blocks and woven necklaces. And the idea was the loom blocks were for the home, kind of sculptural interior design, kind of that came together in that piece. And then the woven necklace was so you could take your art into your daily life. So I've always been fascinated with art, the culture and community behind it, and always wanted to be a part of it. But most of the art you leave in your home, which I have a very soft spot in my heart for home. So art in the home is always just wonderful. But I know a lot of people love decorating themselves and bringing art into their day-to-day. So my goal was to make jewelry that stood out as different from what the market was offering, and making it more like little art pieces and ways you could also incorporate fiber into maybe a more summer wardrobe, or a way to show if you love fiber, this is a completely different way you get to share that in the jewelry.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Did you find like jewelry making in general difficult to do? I mean, I have friends, Caitlin, for example, does a lot of jewelry work, and then Jill and my friend Kanzi. Some people find that they'll look at it like, oh, I can't do that. It's so difficult. But, you know, what was your thoughts? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I love the technical side of jewelry making. With the loom blocks, I can use any fiber I want, silks, wools, cottons, and it's kind of all the same because I'm not looking, it's still on the loom. You get the structure. Here, a little visual for you.
Yeah, they're so pretty.
So for these, I'm completely open. This is alpaca and wool. This alpaca is hand spun by a friend of mine, Casey Lynn of Fiber Farm, and it's really, really soft. So I couldn't use that in jewelry. It wouldn't hold up to the everyday. Right. So in jewelry, it's definitely very technical. Good jewelry is engineered very thoughtfully. I'll wear a piece for months after I make it before I sell it, because you just want to make sure it's going to stand up to day-to-day wear. As for how I learned, I was part of that ceramic internship for those 3 years in high school and college. She does jewelry as well. So that was definitely, she taught me how to open and close a jump ring, just like from the very start, like took me from nothing to something. And so I definitely learned the technical side of jewelry making underneath her. And then in college, I kind of dabbled still on my own. One of the things I do in my design too is I do a biannual collection. So twice a year I do a spring, summer, and a fall, winter collection. But very rarely do I create something and then completely discontinue. Oftentimes I iterate. So I think great design comes from, to the woven necklace I started with, to the woven necklace I'm selling 3 years later. I'm growing, changing. I look back and I'm like, I can't believe I sold that. But I heard one time, I was given great advice, and it's, if you're not a little bit ashamed of where you started, then you started too late.
Oh, so yeah.
I did not start too late. And I'm just learning and growing every day. I'm a little bit stronger, a little better at my craft. And I hope to look back in 3 years and be like, I can't believe I sold that.
That is so cool. That is so cool. These looms that you're working on, whether it's the large box, it's a box looms, I say it, or the woven necklaces, like do you have to create those yourself? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, so the process of creating them, so for the loom block, each one is different. So you'll notice this one looks...
Oh, that's beautiful.
Isn't that fun? So
oh, I love that.
There's a little bit of similarities. Most of them have a little gold bar, and that's ceramic. So I used to use, in every collection so far, I've used a wild North Carolina clay for this piece. This year will be my first year using a porcelain, and that collection will release September 1st. So nice. I'm to dabble in porcelain. But then I use unspun yarn at the bottom, so a little roving, up to the spun yarn at the top. And my goal with that is to show the process, the life cycle of the yarn. The gold also kind of represents the heddle. And I know in a little bit we're going to do a weaving demonstration, and I can show you that heddle on my loom so you can see the similarities in a little bit. But I start right at the very beginning. So I'm doing all the woodwork. So I'm breaking down wood from, I'm always getting phone calls like, I found this piece, and then I drive up and get it. So I break down all the wood, and I'm creating these three-dimensional. I also sign a number at the bottom of each one, and they each get a little logo on the back. But so I built the loom myself. You have these little wood, little metal nails. I use copper and bronze. And then I go through and warp the loom, which is the vertical threads. Just that creates the structure for the weaving. And then each time I go in, I'm weaving something completely different. So I never weave the same block twice. And that goes back to trying to create accessible art. So you're getting a one-of-a-kind piece. And then I just get to play and go in with texture, color. One of the things I love about making these is it really is comparably quite a small bit of yarn. So I'm able to use really high quality yarn and share just top-notch pieces at an affordable price. All of my work is under $100, which is important to me. Trying to help people collect. Collecting art is very important to me. So I want to be able to share that with others. And then it also helps me support other fiber artists who are creating this amazing yarn, which otherwise I wouldn't have been able to do. Because to maybe knit or crochet or weave a large blanket using hand-spun yarn is a commitment. So this is my way to start small.
Oh my gosh, I love these so much. I love the way you use the unspun roving with the other one. I love that texture, the dichotomy of the like super smooth but soft and fluffy with the finish. Like, oh my gosh, it's so pretty.
Thank you. I love
it's gorgeous. So gorgeous. How did you come up with that idea? Were you already are they called loomers? Loom? Did you loom already?
Well, I was weaving actually.
Weavers, that's the word.
I was gonna let it slide.
I'm like, I know this word. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. All right, go ahead.
I was weaving the woven necklaces at the time. So I loved the gold base is the ceramic, and then this part is the weaving, and I'm doing these all by hand on a miniature loom. I couldn't find a loom small enough when I started making them, so I actually built my own so I could get the warp count the way I wanted, and so it was out of wood, and I was just using the nails, and I was like, this is so beautiful because you get the dimension, texture, character from the wood, and when you take the weaving off like I was doing and stitching it onto the ceramics, you lost that wood element. So I designed the loom blocks because I was weaving the necklaces and didn't want to lose the loom character. Yeah. And again, they've evolved and changed over time. I number the bottom of all of them, so I know that I'm in the 400s now. So that's 400 completely different pieces of art that are out there. But I will say, it's hard to understand at first. So it's been a fun education process of teaching people what weaving is, how to style them. They look so beautiful on a bookshelf for me until.
Oh yeah. Like I'm totally like envisioning my mom's house is very well decorated. Like she just does an exceptional job. I just let the yarn decorate for me. Like I don't do anything else, right? But I could totally see one of those at her house because her house is very white and sort of like French country-ish, you know? I don't know, I could totally just see one in one of her like curio cabinety areas, you know?
Exactly. And a lot of times people do gift them to weavers. You know, you'll see it and it reminds you of your yarn loving friend.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
And something
it's so pretty.
Might not have.
Yeah.
And then when I trim the roving off the sides of the blocks,
yes,
I saved the little scraps and I felt them. And I'm actually wearing a set today. They're little, let's see if we can get a little better view.
So cool.
So they're little felted bangles. So just another way to kind of add a little bit of the fiber. And I love the way that fiber pairs with metal. So you get a little bit of that hard and soft. And these guys click together or click apart. So these are our felted bangles, just another way to bring fiber into your daily life.
I love them. I love them. That is so awesome. And can I tell you, there's something oddly gratifying about the smoothness of that fiber that you've trimmed?
Thank you.
It is. It's like, I'm all, ooh, that is so like soothing to the soul, sort of, you know? Yeah, I mean, that's got to be just like, oh, look at this. Like, how do you part with everything?
Sometimes I don't. I often will weave a loom block and be like, ooh, that's got to live with me for a little bit. And I'll live with it. And I have a few. This one actually it normally sits in my entryway.
I love that.
And I can part with it. I'll put it out. And that's one of the joys of being the maker is you get to live with your work for a while. And then when it finds a home, it's time to go.
Yeah.
I'll make a new one.
That's brilliant. I love it. The yarn that you're using on the necklace, the woven necklaces, it looks like it's a floss, but what is that what it is?
Yes, it's a cotton floss. I've played with different ways through the years. We talked about the kind of strength and stability, so I needed a cotton for the woven necklaces. I played around with some really beautiful silks, but it looks great. And then you wear it and the knots slip. I counted one time, I think it's like 60 or so knots in each little woven necklace. So you just want to make sure that that's going to hold for you. And I found the cotton to be the best way. In past collections, I've done naturally dyed floss, which has been really fun to kind of play with color. And each collection has different shades and tones. So I get to play with curating collective.
That's fantastic. So I love the Uptown necklace. Do you make the wood part and then is that crochet?
Yes.
I was like, ooh, I've got to have that. Like, I love that so much.
All single crochets. So just an outstanding amount of love. I know you and your followers understand.
Yes.
I actually have an assistant who's amazing, and she has officially given up on that style. She was like, Mary, I love you, but I will not crochet any more of those. So those are all crocheted by me because I have not given up.
Yeah.
They're so beautiful. And
I think you could even sell those as kits. People would totally buy those as kits.
That's actually a great idea. Let other people do the
I'm telling you right now, if you sold the materials as a kit, crocheters would totally buy that. Like that's
a lovely idea.
Yeah.
Maybe when I retire it personally, like my hands are done crocheting, but yeah, and I should say more positively, you will love making it.
Well, it's the final product is outstanding, and it's so simple. Like it's beautiful. Like I love the element of the wood combined. Is that a cotton too, or is that what is that?
That's a cotton, and it's naturally dyed with pokeberries, so that's how you get that really soft, beautiful kind of shell. But yes, that's just 100% cotton again to hold well. And then I've played with wool in the past, but you hate just a little something itchy on your neck. So I went with the cotton for that reason. So just trying to be really thoughtful in the designs. And they do tend to be very simple. You know, that could have been an ornate, shell crochet stitch. But one of the things that I personally look for when I'm shopping for jewelry or clothes is just something really clean, really well made. It doesn't have to be wild. I just want to look, I want it to be clean and the craftsmanship to be nice. So that's what I'm trying for in my work.
It's beautiful. Now, speaking of clean and well made and everything, but at the same time, these are a little bit wild and I love them, is the woven collar necklace and the topped tassel ornament. Like I love those. Like I would take the top tassel ornament and make it earrings. Like, yeah, totally. Just right there. And I would own it. I would own it all day long. Like I love those.
Those are absolutely straight out of my yarn loving heart. I saved the scraps that I cut from weaving the tops of the loom blocks all year. And then at the holidays, I make those top tassel ornaments. So just again, striving for low to no waste. The tops of those ornaments I'm making out of the ceramics. So a little bit of clay in there. So it just feels so nice. And then in the off season, I actually have my ornament over my doorknob in the entryway. So just, or at the, your mom's little cabinet, you can put that over the keys.
Yeah, she totally does that stuff.
So it lives all year long. So I love that product. I'm considering doing them this year just a little bit smaller. So I'm just kind of, again, playing with proportions and scale and how can I make this the best possible for my clients. But yeah, that top tassel, and then the woven collar, naturally dyed. It's a great way to really just wow them. You can wear any plain shirt, and it turns it into an outfit. But I do laugh sometimes. I tend to be a little more quiet, a little more introverted, and very plain. Yet for some reason in my work, it can be whimsical and wild. And I'm like, this came from me. So I must be inside a little wild.
I love it. I mean, I hope that everybody that's watching right now, if they're watching, they're also scrolling through the website, because I mean, it's stunning. Like I can't get enough. I love how clean and crisp and just absolutely beautiful everything is. Like it's really it's fascinating. The what you can do. I mean, you really are. You're a true artist. Like unbelievably beautiful. Unbelievably beautiful.
And that website for your viewers, it is spelled out. That's one of my lifelong woes. It's 22west.com, not the numbers, but the letters.
Yep.
So you're going to check it out. Same on Instagram, 22west.
I love it. Can I tell you how much I love the golden beam?
Yes. That's hanging in my house right now.
Oh, of course it is. It's gorgeous.
Thank you. So those are all just those individual tassels lined up. I wanted to play with wood canvases. My favorite art that I personally buy from artists is on the wood canvas. So I was drilling little holes in the wood canvas and then threading each little tassel through to get that really full fiber effect on the bottom, and then it just kind of lightly bounces on the top with that golden beam.
Oh, I love that. I would put that in my house in a minute.
Me too.
I know, right? It's gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. I love all this. All right. So besides online, I mean, can people, because I mean, you never know who's watching. Can people purchase your stuff wholesale to sell in like their boutiques?
Absolutely. So I love my wholesalers. I work with 25 stores across the U.S. And they help me reach more people. So I love my wholesalers, love working with them. There's a wholesale tab on my website with interested forms. So if you're interested in carrying my work, I'd love to talk to you. Just a little short form so we can get to know each other and start that conversation. So for wholesalers, that's how you'd get a hold of me. For retail shoppers, customers, there's an events tab on my website where I keep that refreshed all the time. I love to do in-person festivals. Gives me an opportunity to share my story and talk with customers one-on-one. So you can find me there. I tend to stay currently more on the Eastern Coast, but I'd love to get out west maybe in the next year, take the show on the road. But you can kind of follow me there, see where I'm coming. And if there's a show near you, one of your followers, please do let me know. I'm always open to doing new shows. If there's a place you'd like to see me or a store you think should carry my work, I'd love to hear from you. I also offer workshops, sometimes in connection with my wholesale stores. They will host. So I do weaving workshops for beginner and intermediate weavers, 2 different classes. Most people in the beginner class have never woven before, so it's just a great way, especially for people who love knitting and crochet. Your hands already have all those fiber muscle memory, so it's just a really beautiful step over to weaving. And most people just soar at it.
Absolutely. That's awesome. I love that your stuff is at Bliss. One of my best friends goes to Bliss all the time and works there. She's one of the sponsors of this podcast, Erin Lane Bags, Lindsay. But so anyways, it's kind of a shout out to Bliss. This is so cool. I love it. I love your logo too. I think it's beautiful. But we didn't ask, or I didn't ask this, we didn't talk about it. What's the history behind the name, the 22 West?
So 22 West got its name from the home where I grew up. I grew up in Greenville, South Carolina. I'm talking to you now from Charlotte, North Carolina. But my home has always been in Greenville. That's the home my parents brought me home from the hospital in. It's where I learned every skill that I have. So I wanted to kind of honor that in the name of my business. So that's how 22 West got its start.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, I know you gave everybody kind of a sneak peek that you were going to help us do, or not help us, but show us a little demonstration. So
Yes.
I think that now's a good time to do that.
Perfect.
All right.
Let's weave.
All right. Let's loom.
Yeah, let's loom.
Let's loom. Jeez Louise, what an idiot.
Oh, you need a loom.
Yeah.
So this is my loom. I'm working on designing these for hopefully kits soon. We talked a little bit about possibly doing a necklace kit in the future, but the first thing I plan to offer is a weaving kit. So this top piece is the heddle. So just to kind of give you a little introduction, it lifts every other thread and just kind of assists in weaving. It's not a necessary tool, but I love having it. It's very helpful as you go along. But this is the loom. These are the warp threads, these vertical threads. And then as you see here, I've already started with my weft, which is how you kind of come in with that texture and pattern. I also have a needle, and this could be, if your viewers have a larger needle that you use to maybe weave in ends, that will do to get you started. But this one kind of goes with the kit. I also have a little comb. This helps as you beat down the weaving. Plus, it's adorable. And then I have a little card with the weaving terms on them that I'll be including in the kits. I'm hoping to release them in September when I do my fall winter collection.
Okay.
But just to kind of get us going, I thought we would start with tabby stitch, which is the basic under over. It forms the structure of most weavings. So I'm just going to start going over one thread, under the next, over, under, over, under. About halfway through, I go ahead and start pulling just to give myself a little slack. But just following that over-under pattern. And then once you get a little tail on the other end, you'll make a little bell curve across the top. This really helps with the tension. Tension is a really big thing in weaving because you don't want your weaving to hourglass over time.
Okay.
You're trying to keep those verticals really straight. So this is where our adorable comb comes in, and we just push it down. And you have your first row.
This is so exciting. I don't know if the listeners, I feel like I'm enthralled. Like, you got me. It's like you've got some sort of magic wand.
Yes, and it is so addictive. I mean, a lot of people leave the weaving workshops like, all right, see you next Tuesday. So next I'm going to show you the sumac stitch just because it's really fun. It adds a lot of texture to a weaving, and it's one of the stitches that people in the workshop get most excited about. But I just take my slack and put it up. If you put it down, your sumac stitch will go the opposite direction. So I'm just going to go up. And then I take the needle, because I'm going right on my weaving, I'm going to point my needle left. That's kind of how you remember which way you're wrapping on your sumac.
Okay.
And I'm going to just go under the first two stitches and then pull through. You can do this over as many stitches as you want. I guess I should call them as many warp threads.
Okay.
But then I put my slack up again, and it's just a repeat process.
Oh, I'm loving this so much.
I'm telling you, Marley, all that yarn behind you. Think of the wheels.
Could you imagine if one day I started the podcast, people would be like, what happened to all Marley's yarn?
Like, I did this podcast with Mary, and that was it. I'll have that effect on yarn stashes, apparently.
Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful.
Are you starting to see that little pattern that we're making?
Yes.
So it's just really fun, and there are millions of versions of that. So that's just 2 little stitches using the same thread.
Oh my gosh.
You change the thread, and the stitch looks completely different. So
yeah, if that was like a spun thread, it would look completely different than if oh my gosh, I love that so much.
You know, think about the lace weight, sport weight. You know, we got the fluffy yarn. So just endless possibilities. So it's a great way to use your scraps, start saving your little scraps, then get to weaving.
Oh my gosh, I love that so very much. You said this will be available this fall?
Yes, in September 1st. September 1st.
So I have goosebumps. Like I enjoyed it so much. Like I have goosebumps. I love that. Will people be able to purchase it then online?
Online, okay. Absolutely. And then I hope to bring little kits to shows. I want to have a little cotton bag. I'm still kind of in the progress of kind of designing exactly how it's going to be. But yes, I hope to have kits September 1st.
Oh, I love that very much. Just FYI between you and me, one of the best shows that I think is on the West Coast is Stitches West. And it's in February. It's one of the best shows. I think that your stuff would just be a hit there.
I would love to do that. I did the Stitches East in Nashville. I think they don't do that show anymore, do they?
No, they don't do that in Nashville. They switched. Stitches East is now Stitches United, and so it was up in Connecticut, but they'll be back in Atlanta next year. So that's relatively close.
And I hear that I'm all for going west. So
right, yeah. Stitches West is amazing. I tell everybody, and it's not just because I'm friends there or I teach there or anything, like bar none, if I was just a consumer, that's the show I would go to because it's just amazing. But yeah, I think that your stuff would do excellent there. It's so pretty. I love, and it's so unique. Like it's that thing that it would be in the market or in the store, wherever it is it may be, that, you know, if you don't want to buy any more yarn or you don't know what to get somebody who has a lot of yarn, it's that something extra. And gosh, I would totally.
One more skein of yarn and a loom block because you can't have enough yarn.
No, you cannot. Words to live by. We need to cross stitch that on something.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm loving this so much. And so it's time in the show that we give away prizes. And everybody, we are lucky enough that Mary has offered us generously to give away a prize to a live listener today and a prize to somebody who leaves a comment on the show notes. So if you are listening live to the show right now, what I want you to do is a couple of things. I want you first, hit that like button on this show. Hit the thumbs up. Smash that like button, okay? Second, in the comments area, I want you to put on there, I want to win. Let's do I want to win because it's just easy. Put in there, I want to win, okay? And then just kind of sit back and enjoy the conversation. I'll randomly select a winner in the chat room, and we'll randomly select a winner to win a velvet stitch necklace, okay? So... yeah, let's see it. Let me click over to you so they can see it. Ooh, oh, that's pretty. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah,
is that leather?
It's velvet.
Oh, for real?
It's a crushed vintage velvet that I'm weaving over on the piece of the ceramic pottery.
Oh, I love that.
It's a really fun one.
That's beautiful. That's so pretty. I can see those you know how it's really big to layer necklaces. Like I layer a lot of those are perfect layering pieces.
Absolutely.
I love that. All right, so you're leaving a comment, guys, right now to possibly win the velvet stitch necklace. If you are not listening live, don't worry. You always have a chance to win as well. You will find the link to the show notes for today's podcast in the video description of this video. If you're on the mobile device, it's the little caret, you know, the upside or the V. If you click on that, you'll see the video description. If you're on your desktop, it's just right under this video. You'll see there. There's a brief, I actually took your about me stuff and put it on there real quick because I'm like, this is just so perfect. I put a link to the show notes and all of that good stuff. So what you need to do is go to the show notes. You'll find a link to all of the things that pertain to 22 West. And at the bottom, you'll see where it says to leave a reply or leave a comment. You click on there to leave a reply or comment. You might have to log into the website and it's just a way for us to make sure we don't get spam, okay? And then you leave a reply or comment that includes a keyword. So Mary's going to give us a keyword. And what happens is once you leave that comment, we go back about 4 to 6 weeks after the original air date of the podcast and give away the prize for today's show. So for example, we had, ironically, we had V is what we called her. She wrote the book Loom book. Do I have it here? My daughter took it. I don't think I have it over here. My daughter took it. My daughter saw it and she just took it. Like she was like, I got to have this. But if you remember on that one, I made this really cute little, my dog's behind me. I made this little tassel thing here with that little loom book. So it's a great little book. And we are giving away comment winner gets a loom and pom-pom necklace. So that's what is possibly given away today. Keyword was pom-pom or loom. And Caitlin went over to the show notes for that show, looked at all the comments, randomly selected a winner, and the winner is Amy Reeves. And Amy's comment was, I have a 5-year-old daughter who loves to craft with me. I think this would be perfect for her to learn to make pom-poms and tassels on her very own loom. This would make a great Christmas present. So Amy, congratulations. You used pom-pom and loom in the same sentence or in the same comment, which is great. So we will send you out an email soon so that we can get your phone number and address and get your prize sent out to you. So it's that simple, you guys. Just leave your comment, include your keyword, and the comment must be on the show notes. Now, I still get people who don't listen to this part, so please listen up. I love your comments on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on everywhere. And what happens is you guys will put the keyword in those areas and then never leave your comment on the show notes. And you have to leave your comment on the show notes for a chance to win. The reason is I need to have one singular place that I can go just to randomly select winners, right? I need them all. Like, I can't have a bunch of fish bowls all over and then randomly pick a fish. I want one fish bowl. Does that make sense? So make sure you go to the show notes to leave your comment and use the keyword that Mary's going to give us right now.
Here we go. Well, this is the whimsical side coming out, but my show note keywords are alpaca my loom.
Alpaca my loom. I love that. Alpaca my loom is your keyword or key phrase. Make sure you include that in the show notes, you guys. Once again, the link to the show notes is already in the video description of this video itself. So make sure you go check that out. If you're ever in doubt, you can always just go to marleybird.com, go to the podcast drop-down menu. You'll see there where it says show notes. You can click on that and just find the show notes for today's podcast. That's where you can find all of the show notes for all of the shows. Super simple. So, Mary, just so you know, everybody that's watching live right now, they're like going frantic. I want to win. Please pick me.
Oh, I love that.
They're so excited. And before I'm going to give people still a chance to post on there that they want to win and make sure they like that smash that like button. I'm going to read you some of the comments that are coming up because as we've talked about various things, I've been putting links and some people are like, I love looking at all of this. It's just so beautiful. A lot of people are saying hello, beautiful colors, so wonderful. This is awesome. What a beautiful piece of art. And it's for everyone. And then Kathy Jenks is asking, do you add anything with spinning or just weaving? So go ahead.
For the workshops, I'm assuming she's
that would be my guess.
I don't personally spin, but I can absolutely connect her with a spinner.
Okay.
The person who I love, who's just an amazing spinner, is Casey Lynn. Her company is Fiber Farm. It's fiberfarm.net. She teaches workshops. She even has a beautiful Airbnb on her farm, so you can go stay with her, take a spinning class. She would be a wonderful guest for you.
Okay.
He does amazing work, so I'm happy to pass you along that information.
Very cool. Awesome. People love the bangles. They're talking all about the bangles. They also say that these would be a great finishing touch to an outfit. Just that little something extra. let's see here. Beautiful items. I have noticed that some of the wholesale stores are in North Carolina, which is great. You just mentioned you're in Charlotte, which ironically, I go to Charlotte every quarter, so we should try and have lunch or something if possible. Because Red Heart is in Charlotte. I mean, it's in Valentine. I'm like, where is that? So not super far. Let's see. A lot of these looms look great, and now we're to the I want to win. So many people saying they want to win. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll up and down through the I want to win. You tell me when to stop, and wherever my mouse is, that will be the winner.
Scrolling. Stop.
All right, stopped. Going across. Oh, it's Lynette Cantrell. I know her. She's also part of the Marley's Minion group. So Lynette Cantrell, congratulations. You are the lucky winner. So what I need from you is your mailing address and phone number, and we will get that sent over to Mary, and you will send that to winner@yarnthingpodcast.com. winner@yarnthingpodcast.com. Caitlin will take care of everything you need. So congratulations, Lynette. Do you want to show her again what it is she won?
Yeah, absolutely.
So pretty.
To you, Lynette. But this is the piece. So it's nice and long, 35 inches. You can see the chain back here. But it's all hand woven, and you get a little bit of that vintage crushed velvet as well.
I love that. That is so pretty. So congratulations, Lynette. Oh, that's so cool. I love it when I know like the actual person, because I don't know, it just makes it something a little bit extra. This is so fun. And so here's the ultimate question. Knowing as somebody who went into business with something that I love as a hobby, and I know how much time I get to do things on a personal level. And sometimes I'll start off with like personal knitting or crochet, and then it ends up like, well, I really should turn this into a pattern. So then it becomes work. Yeah. How much time do you actually get to spend doing other things outside of your looming and your weaving? You know, how much time do you get to spend just being a crafter?
Yeah, absolutely. When I took all of these different things I love, weaving, woodworking, ceramics, and turned it into my job, it does end up kind of being all consuming. Something that I've started doing for myself, just to kind of stay healthy in my creative process. I've started doing more garment sewing. I teach a garment sewing class for refugee women here in Charlotte.
Oh, okay.
On Wednesdays, we sew garments. I've been doing that with them for a year and a half now. But I have maybe within the last half a year taken that home as well. So I've been sewing garments for myself just personally. I feel like it helps me be a better sewer and helps me teach the class better. But it's just something that has been an old hobby that's been kind of rekindled. I also do a lot of sketching. I love just kind of keeping the creative spark alive anytime I have an idea, just very fast with a pen and paper, just getting my ideas down. And I often go back and look through that. But yeah, there's always making gifts for friends. I recently crocheted some little baby booties for a friend of mine who's having a son, and there's always something to be made.
That's so great. I love it. I've loved having you on the podcast. I'm so glad Caitlin invited you. She said that she started watching you on Instagram and just fell in love with some of your photography and such. Does your husband do the photography for you, or do you have it professionally done?
For our marriage, we do not. He does not enjoy taking photos at all. He strictly does video, but he will. He recently did a video of my photo shoot, kind of to get the behind the scenes. So he's always fast with the video camera, but does not enjoy photography. So I have an amazing photographer, Angela Zion, out of Greenville, and she does just
beautiful. Yeah,
she's amazing.
It's beautiful.
Love working with her.
Yeah, I'm definitely, you have a new follower on Instagram, because I think you just do some great work, and I'm a big fan. I'm gonna have to look at more of your stuff, especially as the fall comes around and think about Christmas gifts. So this would be great. Oh, we should totally add you to the Caitlin last year did this list of here's what you should get, crafters sort of thing. I'll let Caitlin give you all the details.
I'm excited. That's perfect.
Awesome. This has been so much fun. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Riley. I've loved talking to you.
So everybody, I hope that you will run out and check out 22west.com. That is all spelled out, no numbers. Super fantastic, wonderful items, all fiber oriented, and I know that you're just going to love them as much as I do. Hope you enjoyed today's podcast, and as far as I know, I have a show next Tuesday. If in doubt, always make sure that you're subscribed to the Marley Bird YouTube channel, and you'll be up to date whenever there's a new video release or whenever I go live over here. Thanks, guys, for joining me today. Let's say thank you to our sponsors one more time. Let's say thanks to Creative Bug, Craftsy.com, Aaron Lane Bags, Buffalo Wool Company, Stitches.events, and last but not least, Red Heart Yarns, where I'm the proud national spokesperson. Thanks, guys. Bye.